In this passage, number 35 is the first question that we should be answering, especially if we use the no reading strategy where we wouldn't have read the passage before we started answering the questions. Now, this is the fourth question in the passage, so we're pretty deep in here. And what makes this different than the others that came before it? Well, this question is going to have a specific place where we can find the answer. So let me back up for a second. Let's look at questions 32, 33, and 34, right? So main purpose of the passage. This is about the whole passage. Central claim of the passage. This is about the whole passage. Wolf uses the word we throughout the passage. This is about the whole passage. So these first three questions very clearly are big picture. And whether we're reading or not, we should skip these questions at first and save them for last because we're going to have a better sense of what the passage is about after we've answered everything else. Because all the other questions will also direct us to the main ideas, but they'll do it in more kind of contained places because we'll have just smaller line references. So 35 is a little bit different, right? These are clearly talking about big picture stuff. But number 35, according to the passage, a kind of weak phrase, Wolf chooses the setting. This is a very specific thing that we're being asked about. And so that, to me, says that this is not about the whole passage. This is what I would call a no line reference question, which means even though they did not give us the line reference, this is asking about a specific part of the passage, and these we can answer. So it's hard because it looks a lot like the others, but getting good at telling the difference between a whole passage question and a no line reference question can make you really good at the reading section because then it gets your brain on the right track. You know what strategies to do. You know where to look. And here, I would start using the chronology rule to think about where the answer might be. Now, you might just guess from the way the question is worded that we probably need to look at the beginning of the passage because they're asking about the setting. And that's usually something that's established very early on. And so the first paragraph probably makes sense. But if we go ahead to questions 36 and 37, we see another question with no line reference in 36. But if we skip down, we see, okay, number 37 gives us answers to number 36. So they're linked. And look at where all these answers are. 12 to 34, basically. So I would start using the chronology rule and assume that the answer to number 35 is going to be before the answer to number 37. So it could be, before number 12, or it could just be before 34. I don't really know at this point, but, based on what I've cut out here, you can kind of tell that it's really that first paragraph that's going to give us what we need. And they do talk about the setting here. So let's see what they say. This is a really good trap question, too. I really love this passage. Close at hand is a bridge, okay? So that's the setting. Over the River Thames, an admirable vantage ground, so it's good, for us to make a survey. The river flows beneath, barges pass laden with timber, bursting with corn. There on one side are the domes and spires of the city, on the other Westminster and the Houses of Parliament. It is a place to stand on by the hour, dreaming. But not now. Now we are pressed for time. Now we are here to consider facts. Now we must fix our eyes upon the procession of the sons of educated man. So I underlined some key things here. Notice there's a lot of stuff I didn't underline, a lot of little facts and details. I don't care about details. Even when it seems like they're asking about details, they're not really asking about details. It's much bigger stuff. So let's look at these choices and see what matches with our what we read. Choice A, it is conducive to a mood of fanciful reflection. Well, what's another word for fanciful reflection? Dreaming. That's what dreaming is, basically, when we're daydreaming. So that seems like a perfect match. And that's why most people pick this and get it wrong. That is a trap. Why? Why would it be a trap if they said dreaming and then they said fanciful reflection? That seems pretty good, like a great match. Well, what do they say after they say dreaming? But not now. Right? It's a great place for fanciful reflection, but not now. That's not why we're here now. We're here for a different reason that we're going to get into. Beautiful job, SAT. I have to give you a lot of credit here. This is a perfect trap answer. And if you picked it, that's because you're not thinking about an SAT and how it operates and what they're trying to do. They're setting this stuff up. It's no coincidence that this answer was choice A. They want you to see it. They want you to love it and pick it and move on without even second guessing yourself. You can't do that. No matter where the right answer feels like it's going to be, you got to read everything, okay? Every choice could be right. And they're really good at luring us into these traps, so we need to be careful here. Let's keep going. It provides a good view of the procession of the sons of educated men. Well, they talk about we must fix our eyes upon the procession of the sons of educated men. Like, that seems pretty great. Good view also matches with what we said before, right? That's a positive idea. And that's what we saw at the beginning as well. In fact, it's such a perfect fit. What's another word, a fancier word for good? How about admirable? And what's another fancier word for view? How about vantage, vantage ground? It's perfect, perfect fit. This is definitely going to be the answer, but like I said, we should check C and D and make sure before we bubble it in our answer form. So C, it is within sight of historic episodes to which she alludes. So turn this choice into a question. Name one historic episode that she alludes to. What is one historic episode? Can you name one? They talk about Westminster and the Houses of Parliament, but nothing happened at those places that she's alluding to. So this choice just makes no sense. That's why a lot of times if you're confused about the passage, you can flip it around. Look at the answer choices. The answer choices are much better at telling us what's going on in the passages. So if we can turn an answer choice into a question, we have a better way of understanding what we're reading, and there's no answer to this question. There are no historic episodes that I can name that she's alluding to. Choice D, it is symbolic of the legacy of past and present sons of educated men. Well, sons of educated men, they're really trying to hit that idea that we saw at the end. But I don't know what this part means. Symbolic of the legacy. So again, turn it into a question. How is this setting of the bridge symbolic? Can you answer that question without BSing? Right? Now, I would need to point to something in this passage that answers that question. So if you turn that into a question and there is nowhere that you can point to that answers it, then it's probably not a good answer. So this also is just like one of those choices that feels right because it's using a lot of buzzwords that you use in English class in school. So it's hoping that you kind of like get lured in by like, oh, this is how, Mrs. Smith talks in English class. No, like it just doesn't mean it has anything to do with the passage. So B, we do have things that we can point to that say exactly what the choice says. That is the answer. Really awesome question. One of the main reasons I love this passage is this first question.